Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Today, we're going to talk about dwarves in World of Warcraft. Now, if I mention anything you want to learn more about, I will eventually make videos on all of those things. Check them out in the description, be sure to click the link, and if there's no link, I haven't made the video yet, I promise I will soon. There were many races of metallic and stone creatures created by the Titans to help shape the world. They were the Titan-forged, but the Titan-forged races were slowly succumbing to the curse of flesh, created by the old god Yogg-Saron, to weaken them, so they'd turn into weak beings of flesh, and the old gods could take over the world. The Earthen, one of the Titan-forged, were a kind-hearted and stone race, and had gone into hibernation Uldaman in an effort to stave off the curse. Eventually, the Mechagnomes and some Titan-forged who stayed awake succumbed to the curse of flesh, becoming gnomes, and began dying off. One of the last ones alive in Uldaman woke the Earthen from hibernation. The awakened Earthen discovered that while in hibernation, they had succumbed to the curse of flesh, and had become a race that would eventually call themselves dwarves, which in the past was a derogatory term that night elves called Earthen. Dwarves had great physical strength and a zest for combat. They're normally around 4 or 5 feet tall and weigh about 13 stone, or about 180-ish pounds. Males always have long beards, typically with long hair to match, but there are rare instances of bearded females, normally among the Wildhammer clan, who are considered a thing of beauty among the Wildhammers. They have incredible Masonic and manufacturing prowess, normally focusing their crafting efforts and strong work ethic on building strong mountain homes, weapons, and armor. They possess a zest for exploring their roots and their past, and honor the explorers in their society just as much as their leaders and heroes. They're also apt inventors, though not as good as the gnomes. They were actually the ones who invented the black powder gun, the first firearm in Azeroth. Dwarves are extremely hard workers and love drinking. Dwarf miners are often so tired after a day of work that they go to the bar and just fall asleep, mug in hand. Dwarves are steady and observant, but can easily lose their temper. And having a stone heritage, they tend to not do very well at sea, because they tend to sink like rocks. The Curse of Flesh had muddled their memories as they had ventured out to Uldaman, though there were remnants of their memories. They named their new mountain home in the west Khaz Modan, or Mountain of Khaz, in honor of the Titan shaper Khaz'goroth, which they conquered from the ice trolls. It was here they built their new home, Ironforge. They discovered the techno-savvy gnomes dwelling in the nearby caverns. They lived together, sharing a kinship due to their Titan-forged heritage. They used their great Masonic abilities to help them build the city of Gnomeregan, and incredible engineering feats such as the Stonewrought Dam. The first human kingdom of Arathor became particularly good friends with these dwarves and gnomes, trading goods and knowledge with each other. But there was a great tension between Ironforge's 3 most powerful clans, which they consider close to their personal identities: the Bronzebeards, the Wildhammers, and the Dark Irons. All 3 clans were ruled by High King Modimus of the Anvilmar family, who worked very hard to treat each clan with fairness and respect. Thane Madoran Bronzebeard was the head of the Bronzebeard clan, the largest clan, and formed the bulk of Ironforge's military and mercantile classes, and claimed to share distant blood relations with High King Modimus. The Wildhammers lived in the craggy slopes outside Ironforge, led by Thane Khardros Wildhammer, and were adept mountaineers. Sorcerer-Thane Thaurissan ruled the Dark Irons and lived in the deepest corners of Ironforge. They dabbled in sorcery and political scheming, and were disliked by other members of Ironforge. The Dark Irons had control of the richest gem and mineral deposits, and guarded them jealously. When High King Modimus passed away from old age, and before his eldest son could be crowned, the 3 clans began warring for power of the mountain. This war lasted many long years, the War of the 3 Hammers. In the end, the Bronzebeards used their martial expertise to drive the Wildhammers and Dark Irons from the mountain. The Wildhammers settled in the nearby marshlands, carving out the city of Grimbatol, rivaling Ironforge. The Dark Irons went to the Redridge Mountains, carving out the Kingdom of Thaurissan. The Bronzebeards, not wanting to completely destroy the Anvilmar line, offered the Anvilmar family a permanent seat on Ironforge's Senate. The Dark Irons prospered, and years later, launched an attack on the Bronzebeards in Ironforge and the Wildhammers in Grim Batol with war engines and golems. Emperor Thaurissan got to the heart of Ironforge before they were driven out. Thaurissan's wife, Modgud, led the attack on Grim Batol, using her magic to twist the shadows in the Wildhammers' home. The Wildhammers mounted a counterattack, killed Modgud, and the Dark Irons fled. These attacks allied the Bronzebeards and the Wildhammers, and together they attacked and destroyed the Dark Irons. In an attempt to defeat his enemies, Emperor Thaurissan wove a very destructive spell, calling to the elements. But while he was casting, he thought of his dead wife, and anger mixed with his spell, summoning Ragnaros the Fire Lord from the elemental plane. His rebirth came with an explosion that killed the Sorcerer-Thane and shattered the surrounding mountain. At this explosion, the Wildhammers and Bronzebeards turned north and fled. In the aftermath of the war, the Wildhammers were forced to abandon Grim Batol, as Modgud's magic had cursed it beyond inhabiting. The Bronzebeards offered a place at Ironforge, but the Wildhammers declined. They instead settled in a region called Northeron, and a bulk of their clan settled in the hinterlands. The horrors of Grim Batol still haunted them, so they decided not to build another underground home, as was their heritage, and instead decided to build the above-ground home, Aerie Peak. They took up shamanism and befriended the local griffins. The Wildhammers and Bronzebeards vowed to never take up arms against each other ever again. Two large statues of the leaders of the two clans, Madoran and Khardros, were erected at the entrance to the Southlands, standing vigil together, watching for another attack from the Dark Irons. A raging volcano that is now known as Blackrock Mountain now stood where Ragnaros rose. The surrounding smoldering wasteland was now the Burning Steppes, and the chasm to the north is now Searing Gorge. Ragnaros went deep inside Blackrock Mountain, and from within his lair, the Molten Core, he enslaved the surviving Dark Irons, who in turn worshipped him. They carved out a new fortress in this place, called Shadowforge City, and created an army out of living stone for their elemental lord, and where their hatred for the Wildhammers and Bronzebeards stewed, and competed for space in the mountain with the Dark Horde and Deathwing's son, Nefarian. The Wildhammers and Bronzebeards joined and stayed with the Alliance when the Horde attacked during the First War, and successfully defeating the Horde, solidifying their friendship with the humans. The martial prowess of the Bronzebeards and the Griffin Riders of the Wildhammers were crucial in the Alliance's success. Even now, they are loyal members of the Alliance, with the Frostborn Dwarves, who are a less active and powerful dwarf clan. They now have homes not just in their lands, but in the Dwarven District in Stormwind and other Alliance-inhabited lands. The Dark Irons, later on, struck out by kidnapping King Magni Bronzebeard's daughter, Moira. Emperor Dagran Thaurissan showed her compassion and respect, and they fell in love and got married. They had a son, Dagran Thaurissan II, and Moira refused to return to her father in Ironforge. Just before the Cataclysm, the elements arose in distress, and King Magni attempted to commune with Azeroth, using an ancient earthen tablet to figure out why. In the ritual, he literally became one with the mountain and was turned into diamond. Moira then returned to Ironforge with her son, the heir to two kingdoms, and attempted to claim the throne in Magni's stead, which, to be fair, was a totally legitimate claim to the throne. This was essentially a coup. When this coup happened, the Prince of Stormwind, Anduin, happened to be in Ironforge and was taken hostage. The human king, Varian, and SI-7 assassins infiltrated Ironforge to dethrone Moira and save Anduin. Varian would have killed Moira, but, influenced by his son, Varian spared her, and instead brokered an alliance between the clans. The three dwarf clans have now come together in an uneasy alliance called the Council of the Three Hammers. They are Moira Bronzebeard of the Dark Irons, the sole ruler of the Dark Iron clan, who believes that she is due the rights of a queen and not just a regent for her son. She is the legitimate heir to the Bronzebeards, but prefers association with the Dark Irons. Falstad Wildhammer represents the Wildhammer clan, a political moderate, and is known as the Dragon Reaver. He's a griffin rider from Aerie Peak, who in the past had fought the Battle of Grimbatol, where he helped free Alexstrasza from the Old Horde. The last is Moira Bronzebeard, who had once accompanied Arthas Menethil to Northrend to retrieve Frostborn, the fabled and cursed Runeblade. He was left for dead from the power the blade released when Arthas touched it. Suffering from amnesia, he was saved by the Frost Giants and eventually returned to Ironforge. Moira has a long history of being a just leader and a well-regarded hero of the Alliance. The leader of a dwarven clan is looked at like their guardian. Clan leaders often take the lead in battle and are also a champion of the clan's best interest. Dwarves celebrate the explorers of the Explorers League as they help uncover their past. Dwarves are fascinated with uncovering their relation to the Titans. They tirelessly search for Titan objects to study. The Explorers League is actually very selective when accepting new members, needing their applicants to possess particularly exceptional skills. Ironforge is the dwarves' seat of power and backbone of the Alliance industry, and are loyal and important members of the Alliance, and are involved in all of their joint plights. They're a little less racist than the rest of the Alliance, being more accepting for the Death Knights, and even accept their undead brethren back into the fold. A technological feat, the Deep Run Tram connects Ironforge with the human city of Stormwind, and those dwarves that have a religious following often follow the same religion as the humans, the Church of the Holy Light, or worship the Titan Pantheon. Dwarves have rich history and traditions, both based on their Titanforged heritage and not. They have a tradition where every winter, they have a Feast of the Winter Veil, where they feast and give presents to one another, especially the children. An adult is often designated to don the clothes of Great Father Winter, to hand out presents, who, in their eyes, personifies one of the great ancients of Azeroth, the Titans. They also celebrate Brewfest, where they celebrate their glorious alcohol. So there it is. I hope you learned about the dwarves of World of Warcraft, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, please subscribe. I really personally appreciate it. Check me out on Twitter, check me out on Instagram. Go join the Discord, those links are all below, but especially come join me on Twitch. I have a community there, and it's a lot of fun, and would love for you to join it. Now watch your posture. You don't want to have a bad back. I'll see you later. Bye.